Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. So yeah, we're closing in on the end of the year. Holidays are coming up. Thinking about what you're going to be doing, who you're going to be hanging with, time off from work, all of that. Here's one thing that I'm sure you don't want to think about, but you really need to, and that is the end of the year and what you need to do to wrap things up financially, especially getting ready for a new tax year. We're going to talk about that today. We're not going to avoid it. We're plowing right through. This is going to happen. She is somebody that offers bookkeeping services to many small businesses, all different types of industries. And what I love about her and what really, really, truly makes her different is she also harnesses the psychological aspect of what's going on. Yeah, there's a lot of bookkeepers out there and they're great and they're just, numbers, numbers, numbers. She goes a little bit deeper. And for that, I love her. Kat Scardaville is back with us. How you doing?
Hi, how you doing? Happy to be
Welcome.
here.
Welcome. Wow. I'm financially illiterate. I've admitted that before, so I don't even know what we should be thinking about when it comes to the end of the year, but we do have, a month and a little bit more. Uh,
Sure.
as we come to the finish line. What should we be thinking about right now? What are some of the priorities? What would work in our favor if we took care of these things now?
Um, well, you're better off doing it sooner rather than later, first of all. And second of all, money doesn't have to be scary. Taxes don't have to be frightening. Mainly because, the government, Uncle Sam just wants their cut, but Uncle Sam should get the cut that is entitled to them for the same reason that you get your entitlement as well. So, um, when the New Deal occurred back in the 40s, or like after World War II and all that stuff, when all of that took place, it was meant for the American taxpayer to take as much, rather not take as much. Sorry, let me rephrase. It was to protect as many assets and as much income as possible while still giving back to the government. At least that's how it was supposed to be in
Hmm.
theory. How it turned out is a completely different story. But that was the premise first and foremost. Um, but now, because of all of the changes and all of um, the debates over the tax code, and there are many, many codes within just the tax umbrella. Ah, it's important that we just take care of ourselves and give to the government what we are supposed to. You're better off just obeying the law than trying to be slick, first of all. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Um, it doesn't pay to be sneaky, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
for
that's
sure.
that's personally that's not me. I can't sleep at night. I worry about things. Here's
Yeah.
one thing I want to ask you,
Mhm.
and it's definitely in the end of year wheelhouse. I believe January 1st, 25, you have to submit this, but I don't know the name of it. It's something about transparency in a
Oh yeah.
business.
Yes, of course. That's BOI. Um, and that stands. Let me actually look that up because that's that's something
It's
that's
for
like
me, for me, it
it's
stands for
brand new.
stress. It stands for
Yeah.
stress. It's one more thing to add. And I have an accountant and he sent it to me and he said, I can't fill this out. All my clients, I send it to them. You guys got to fill it out. I'm like,
Yeah. Oh, sure, sure.
so
So
I'm gonna send it to you, Kat, and you can fill it out for me.
yeah, no, it's fine. I can totally do that. No, it's okay. So it stands for beneficial ownership information reporting, and it was originally created by the NSA, and it's to create more transparency within preventing financial crimes, because with the advent of the internet and with the advent of just technology advancing more and more, like by the minute, it's easier to launder and it's easier to counterfeit the everything, Bitcoin and other means of generating income through not greenbacks. um,
Hmm.
there's all sorts of ways to earn income in a illegal fashion. So they created this BOI filing, beneficial ownership information filing, to verify that you are in fact the business owner. Like, you, sir, are the business owner, period. And that will draw a line directly from your company to the owner. And that will create a paper trail in the event that your company happens to be a part of a financial crime scheme, or a financial crime, like, oh gosh, a financial crime Ponzi scheme sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing,
Mm-hmm.
so that kind of thing, um, so because it draws that line, it creates more transparency for the law enforcement agencies to identify who's responsible, what kinds of safeguards they have in place, what kinds of protections the business has in order to prevent financial crimes from taking place in the house, and what kinds of securities they have in order to prevent these crimes from occurring, not only in house but outside of them. Maybe they have external partnerships that they want to include in their business practices, and then they're like, no, no, these are bad people. We don't do business with them. And the BOI helps identify who, in fact,
Mm.
is the bad person. You know?
And I get it for the, online transparency and to make sure a company is owned by a company. And I've dealt with it even yesterday. Called a company up, found them online, and they spun me to four different people, insurance related. Figured I'd shop around and just like scam me. I'm feeling like, ugh, and the guy's not getting back to me. I'm like, so I get it. I totally understand it. I just wish the government would
Sure,
make
sure.
it easy. Like I looked at that form and I'm like why? Yeah, I have to go online to learn how to fill out the form. I'm not joking. Like there's
Yeah.
links. Here's how you do it. Why
Mhm.
can't it just be bing, 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 scan it and send, put it in an envelope, whatever it is. Just make it
Yeah.
easy. They don't.
They don't. No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
they don't. I wish they did, but that's why people like myself kind of exist, because we're used to seeing those kinds of complicated websites. We're used to seeing the complications, and like attorneys, for example, their primary responsibility is to create contracts and create like a legal infrastructure. Excuse me, create a legal infrastructure that protects the client from, you know, anything out of the box, anything that's pretty fundamental, and anything that like you, the client, can't even think of. So
Hmm.
that's kind of why they exist. And if you get in trouble for something that you didn't realize was wrong, or something you didn't realize was a big deal, or something to that effect, that's where they come in. And people like myself, who are also used to this kind of weird government jargon, um, we're used to this sort of thing, so we have to like read all these all this mamma jamma in our
Sure.
faces, and we have to like, okay, where do we go? All right, cool. Where do we find? Okay, fine. So we're used to that. The average Joe and Jane are not cool with it, and they want nothing to do with it. You know what I mean?
I
So that's
totally get it.
that's why we're around. You know what I'm saying?
My phone is ringing. It's like maybe this is the IRS now. No.
Oh my gosh, forget about it.
So what else should we look at? End of year things that should be on our radar, even record keeping. Anything that, we should tidy up, if you will, getting ready for submitting all of our uh, information to be completed by a tax preparer.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. So you kind of want to start all of that at you kind of want to start a good portion of that tax planning stuff. You want to do it like all year, preferably every quarter. Just to project, and you want it in a nice, even pace. Because if we slam it for the end of the year, and I'm referring to projections, if we slam it for the end of the year, we're gonna just drive ourselves insane, and nobody deserves that. And as a business owner, you deal with too much already, and that's not okay. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
It's like going to your aunt's house at the holidays and you're already preparing for, an argument over this, and then somebody throws a plate over there, and then it's it's not worth it. It's not worth it to yourself. So instead, you do the projections towards the end of every quarter. I project that in quarter two, if I plan to focus on this product or if I plan to focus on this service, I believe we will earn income. And we always have taxes in the back of our head, right? So, because we have taxes in the back of our head, we want to make sure that we're giving to Uncle Sam what we're supposed to. And one of the primary reasons for that is we don't want to we don't want a huge tax bill at the end of the year, where you're paying a crazy amount, like $32,000 when it's time to file your taxes. So it's recommended to do something called estimated quarterly taxes, and that's due on the 15th of every quarter. So, for example, April 15th, because March 31st is over. And so it would be April 15th. And then June 30th is over, July 15th, and so on and so forth. So you would do the estimated quarterlies through there, and you just, a tax preparer like myself can do it, or you can do it yourself, and your software can create that for you. Or you can just kind of like go online and look at a formula that will help you with it. But the majority of the time, it's just a decent percentage of 30% to 23%, depending on the tax bracket that you're in. So there's that estimated quarterlies, and then at the end of the year, you don't have to pay a huge tax bill because you already did it throughout the year. So it's important to do the estimated quarterlies first of all. And then it's important to put that money away every month into a high yield savings account. And by high yield savings account, I'm not talking about, one of the giant banks like a Wells Fargo, a Chase. I love Chase. I use Chase too, but in this case, I need something a little more friendly, if that makes sense. So you could do something like Justice, like Justice Bank is really cool. They got like a 5% high yield savings account, and you can put all the money in there. And then
that's just a straight savings account.
Yeah, it is. It's really great.
Oh my gosh! I mean that's higher. That's higher than the most CDs. The higher yielding CDs.
Yeah,
because the higher ones, I'm looking at, floating. I don't know, 4.3, 4.5, something like that.
Yeah,
I've never seen savings. Whoa, okay.
Yeah, the high yield savings is awesome. I was telling my oldest daughter is 20, and she's trying to, she's getting her footing, and she's trying to figure herself out. Like, I'm 20 years old. I have no idea what I want to do. I have no idea. So, and this was stuff I didn't know as a kid. So
Oh, sure.
I taught her, and I hope it's stuck, because I want people to be protected, and I want people to recognize that, without their input and without their knowledge and their skill set and without their capacity to do things, even like getting in the car and going to the grocery store, without you, nothing happens. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Without you, things stay stagnant. Without you, everything just falls to nothingness, right? So therefore you need to be protected, and you need resources to enhance that protection. And if you have to remove yourself from a situation, you have the means to do that, right? So I showed her, not to divert from the topic, forgive me, but
no, it's all good. This is how we learned, hearing stories. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't think. 5% savings. Hello, yeah. Guess what Steve's doing later?
Yeah, for real.
Like, because I'm at that point where I need to make a couple of changes and move things. Um, and I didn't even that was off my radar. Those
Yo,
higher yielding savings.
it's awesome.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's a it is Justice, and it's so funny, and it's a
Hmm.
Justice Bank. You just like look it up. It's the coolest thing ever. Um,
What do you
so
think? I'm going to digress for 5 seconds here.
yeah.
Um, what do you think about your opinion? Now, you said Chase is good, and I agree. They've been pretty solid. I worked with them, dealt with them at one point. Probably need to circle back. Capital One.
Oh, they're cool. I like
Okay.
them. They're cool. They're friendly. They're very nice. They do have a savings. It's not as high. You know.
I was just asking in general.
Yeah,
Your vibe
but
on them.
like in general, they're good people. They're a good bank.
Okay.
And they work with their customers too. I
Gotcha,
like
gotcha. Okay, so back to your daughter you were talking about, right?
Yeah, okay. So I showed her three aspects of just self-protection on a monetary scale. So the first one was that high yield savings account. And I said, sweetheart, it's got nothing to do with, trust in your boyfriend, or trust in your friends, or trust in, trust right now is off the table. This is about you and trust in yourself. It's got nothing to do with the outside individuals. So I showed her my resources, and the first one was that savings account. The second one was, um, I have a Charles Schwab SEP, which is a self-employment pension, and that's for individuals who have, an LLC. They're self-employed. Maybe they have like a tiny small business of one to 10 employees, or maybe they got a small operation of like 3 people, and they work with only contractors like myself, and they put all their money in a SEP. So, and that's what I have. And I said, if you decide to go in the independent contractor route, this is what you're going to use. This is exactly what you're going to use, because you have a cap of, um, depositing something around like $52,000 a year, you know, and a lot of those funds you're able to write off, which is really nice. And furthermore, it builds value over time. And then when you get to retirement age, that's yours. You are never going to be penalized for taking it out. But if you take it out before, obviously you're going to be penalized a stupid amount, like 40%. And
Oof.
if that 40% goes to Uncle Sam, and nobody wants to do that, so it's important to educate yourself on that.
Wow.
But if you decide to work for a company and you're happy there, you get a 401k, you get a Roth. Do that. That's good for you, you know. And the cool thing about those is you're able to, buy a house, first time home buyer kind of arrangement, and you can take those funds and put them towards a new place, because that's totally okay, and it's totally acceptable in your tax return. So so I said to her, you can do those things depending on which route you want to take. The point is that you recognize that you have options. You just got to educate yourself on what those are. So so I showed her the SEP, and I showed her how you put the money in. Even if you got $5 a week, it's okay. $1 a week, it's the point is that it builds, and that's the point. You
Hmm.
gotta invest in hope, because eventually that hope turns into, oh my God, yes I can. Oh my God, I'm doing it. And then eventually I did it.
And when the market does go up, it just feels so good. Like it's just like
Hell yeah.
money from the sky. All right, I'm gonna
Let's
hand
go.
you 100K right now. Here it is. Catch it. You you got to do something with it. Not crypto.
No,
What are you gonna
no.
do with? What are you gonna do with it?
Okay. So me personally,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Okay, me personally, I'm
And
gonna
I
go.
mean, in some type of investment that yields, yes, we all want to go on vacation. Yes, I'm looking at that car. Yes, 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 yes. But that's what we're
Oh,
talking about here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, 100 grand, 100 grand. Okay, I'm gonna go to a tax sale. The first thing I'm gonna do is go to a tax sale. So if Mr. Harper gives me 100 grand, I'm gonna say thank you, Mr. Harper, and then I'm gonna say let's uh let's go look at some houses. I like Pennsylvania because it's got like the
Hmm.
Poconos kind of thing because it's not that
Gotcha.
far from where I live.
Gotcha.
And then go to some tax sales. And the cool thing about that is the property taxes, if they're not paid, you just pay the property taxes. Cool.
Hmm.
$7,400, $2,000, blah blah blah. It's like I will buy these houses, vroom, and then I will. I
Hmm.
don't know how many we got, four or five. Sweet,
So
and
when you
then
say tax sale, how do you define that?
oh, okay, yeah. Tax sale is where you have you find them on the internet in your like your what is it, your local town website or something, so in my case I look up township of blah 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 tax sale or short sale,
Oh, okay.
and like from there I decide what I want to invest in, and in my case it's real estate because real estate is the surest thing in the universe. And then from there, I go visit these places and see if it's worth improving upon. And if it's worth improving upon, I will determine how much improvement is valuable to me and how much of that improvement will contribute value to the overall investment. So, for example, um, if I sink in 20 grand into a kitchen, is this going to give me a renter? That's really the goal right there. Um, and then from there, I start. I put some. I kind of like combine some funds together depending on what the housing needs, and then just start polishing it up, making it pretty, doing the thing, and then
Hmm.
get a realtor and say to the realtor, find me renters because I don't want to deal with this. I ain't finding renters. You do it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
And great time for that based on the housing situation right now. People are holding off, so they're looking for those properties. We're just about out of time. I can just keep going.
Oh,
And I wish I listened to my aunt who was very successful in real estate.
very
Um,
good.
and she always said, you got to get in real estate. And this was when I was in my 20s. And I'm out partying with my friends. I'm like, yeah, and I mean, regret it. You shouldn't have regrets, but you should have listened to her because she was spot on. And you're saying it now. And of
Yeah.
course, yeah, yeah,
The real estate is always the surest thing, but dude, I'm telling you, you can always turn it around. You can always turn it
yeah.
around.
And to your point, when you mentioned taxes, I'm on Long Island. You don't buy a house for less than, I'm going to say minimum, if you're lucky, 8K in taxes. If
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
lucky,
sure.
average 10, you might find an old house. It might be, I don't know, 7,500. If you're lucky,
Sure, sure.
it's like 10 on up. So that's where it's like, I don't know, but in other areas and, love the Poconos, love, all that. You're talking, my friend's in Orlando. Beautiful sunny Orlando, beautiful house, just sold it. He's a nomad. He has no home right now
Oh,
and he loves it. He's
yeah.
not married, no kids, so he just travels and does his work digitally. His taxes were like maybe 3 grand. I'm like, what? And I've seen his house. Can't believe it. Um,
Wow.
yeah, but it's like they say, location. Yeah. Pat,
Yeah, King.
how do we find you if somebody's looking to up their game when it comes to their financial situation, their bookkeeping? Somebody that's honest, transparency is there, even to start the conversation. How do they do that?
Yeah, right on. Our website is, we just launched it and it's gorgeous. So it's eqconsultantsnj.com. And the email address is info@eqconsultantsnj.com. You can also reach us at 848-565-0113.
Cool. I remember you talked about launching the website. So I got to go check that out. So thanks for that.
Oh,
reminder.
yes, please. I would love your feedback if you don't mind. Just like any feedback
honestly,
is great.
I'm very excited. Like I want to go. Wonderful talking with you. Love your energy and your insight. If we don't get together, happy Thanksgiving, and we'll catch up soon.
Oh, for sure. Thank you. I always have a great time. Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Same. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.